Here's a quick step-by-step overview of a basic strategic planning process you can put to use right away in your business. Or it can even help you pull together a map of your strategic career plan for yourself. I'm putting this together because I've gotten several people asking if I could provide a one kind of a one-page overview of a strategic planning process that anyone can use in a business, no matter what industry, whether they're getting started or they've been using strategic planning for many years. So I hope you find this helpful. And if you have questions after you watch this, feel free to contact me. Hi, I'm Dana Meyer, and I'm the president of Dana Meyer Consulting. And our mission is to help business leaders and their teams achieve their visions and next level of success using simple but very strategic tools and techniques to achieve amazing results and with less fuss and pain. So, with that, let's get started. So, what is a strategic plan? I like this working definition from Wikipedia because it hits on several of the main areas that help to delineate between different phases of the strategic planning process. The first is it's simply an organization's process of defining its strategy or direction for the future. It's also an organized way of making decisions about allocating resources to pursue the strategy. And that also means making decisions about what you are not going to do and what you are not going to resource in order to achieve what you do need to do. And that's a very important piece of the process. I also like the fact that it notes that it's an ability to identify the control mechanisms for guiding the implementation of the strategy. The best strategies are one where you are designing with the end in mind. And that means the execution and the implementation of the strategy. And as many of you know who follow me, I have a strong bias towards looking at the people implication of how your strategy will not only impact your employees, but also how your employees and your team can be an integrated part of making that strategic plan a reality in the way in which they execute day to day. So you need to bake that into the way in which you're designing your strategic plan from the very beginning. So where to begin? Really, it starts with defining what is that future vision? Where do you want to go? And people always ask, well, how many years out should it be? I personally think 3 to 5 years is a good window. It's far enough away that it makes you think big, but it's not so far you can't get your arms around it. If you're just starting out, even 1 to 2 years can be enough in some cases, and especially if you're in an industry that's changing very quickly. But aim for 3 to 5 and see how that works for you. So get very clear and define where we want to go. I think it's also important to identify why that's important. You know, what's the compelling, inspirational vision for why you want to do that? The next step is to take a look at where we are today, do a current state assessment. Depending upon your business or industry, that's going to look a little bit different. Using SWOT analysis is a good basic tool. There are many different types of assessments, and that work can be very deep. What I would say is no matter what process you're using, though, be honest. The more honesty you can bake into your assessment process, you are going to get better information as far as the issues and areas that need to be addressed in order to accelerate moving towards your future vision. The next step is to take a look at how we're going to get there. And that's what most people would call the strategic plan. That can look like 3 to 5 high-level strategic objectives that need to be addressed in order to move from where you're at today to where you want to go. Oftentimes, these are dealing with people development, maybe product or service offerings, looking at process improvement, pricing, whatever that may be. You want to just identify those kind of high overarching areas that need to be addressed, noting that many of them need to happen in parallel. So once you have these great big boulders, it's important to break these down into bite-sized pieces or goals that are at an organizational level and I recommend making them 10 or fewer. I think 5 to 10 high level goals is ideal. And the reason being is that it makes it much easier for employees to be able to understand how those high level goals tie to your bigger strategic objectives and ultimately how that's moving the organization towards this future vision. And I think it's also important when you're looking at these goals to make sure that they are easy and clear to understand. And one of the ways in which you can do that is to use a process called SMART goals. If you're not familiar with SMART goals, you can Google it. There's lots of good information out there about it. In a nutshell, it simply means that the goal is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, results oriented, and time bound. So that's important because you're being very clear about your expectations of what that goal needs to be when it's accomplished. So after you have your 5 to 10 high level goals, the next step is to create an action plan. And in that action plan, that is where you're baking in the accountability and timelines and needed resources in order for those goals to be achieved. So the action plan needs to cover the basics of who needs to do what, by when, sometimes the how. And what I have often found is missing at the end of a strategic planning process review is the goals are assigned, people are told what they need to go off and do, but they are under-resourced. So what that means is, say, a leader or an individual is assigned a high-level goal that's very important, and they get maybe 2 team members instead of 5 or 10. They are told to do it on their existing budget versus being assigned the budgetary resources they need in order to make the goal happen. So put your money where your mouth is. If you do indeed say that this goal must be achieved in order for that vision to occur, then make the choices of what you are not going to resource and apply those funds to the things that need to be resourced. Not only are you more likely to achieve that, but what you're also doing is you're telling the leader and the employees who are involved in this process what is important. And that's also going to bake in their own commitment because they see that's important to the organization. All right, so you've got your action plan, your accountability, your timelines, everything's clear. So now it's a matter of make it happen. Execute on a day-to-day basis. Tie in your action planning and your goals into individual employees' personal goals. If you have a performance and development process of any kind, that's even better. But at a minimum, you want employees to know what you need them to do in order to achieve this greater vision. And you also want to celebrate the successes, big and small, along the way. Don't wait until you achieve this vision 2 to 3 years out. Celebrate the successes on a monthly basis or at least on a quarterly basis because you're showing employees that progress is being made. You're helping them to stay engaged and motivated and inspired for that long term. So part of the leader's action plan should include on a monthly basis taking a look back at where you can celebrate successes, where you can recognize the employees and the leaders that are stepping up and doing things differently as part of that culture of change you're trying to implement. So at the end of the day, it's a very simple one-pager process. And of course, there is deep work in each of these different areas. But what I like about this is that you can kind of get your arms around the different elements. And if you're missing a piece of this puzzle, make sure that you bake it into your process, especially when you're getting into your New Year planning process. So again, I hope this was helpful. And if you'd like to go further and do deeper work, or if you have questions, I'm here to support. I really do believe in this work because at the end of the day, employees come to work every single day wanting to be successful, and a business needs to continue to grow in order to everyone to succeed. And oftentimes, having a clear vision, a clear strategic plan with clear goals helps everyone in that process to be more successful. So Again, if you'd like support, I'm here to help. So have a great strategic planning process and have a great day.